Hello everyone, it is the end of October, so that means it is time for my October 2021 monthly beauty favorites and fails. I figured since it's pretty much November, why don't I switch out my background to a more festive, holiday-ish look. I'm still working on it. I got a couple of these like sparkly trees and I thought they were really pretty, but I don't really think the sparkle is picking up on camera because my lens sort of blurs the background. You might see it sort of change as we progress through the holiday season. But anyway, we're here to talk about my monthly beauty favorites and fails. I have a ton of favorites. Well, not a ton, I guess probably about the same amount that I usually have. I only have one product that I'm going to classify as a fail this month because I did have to return it. But I actually think for everyone that's not me, it's a pretty amazing product. It just ended up giving me a pretty severe allergic reaction. Why don't I just start there with that product? The Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose palette. I used this palette in my October's testing hot new makeup video, and I absolutely loved it. The pigmentation was fantastic. The blendability was great. I loved the final look that I came out with. I recommended it. However, and this is something I should have known because I've had this happen to me in the past, the reddish pinkish shades in the palette caused me to have a very severe allergic reaction. I know. If it's happened to me before with those type of shades, like the ones in the Modern Renaissance palette, why in the world would I purchase this palette and why in the world would I use this palette? That's a very good question and I really don't have an answer. I'm not a cosmetic chemist. I don't know, well, anything about formulations of eyeshadows really. But I just know what I've been told over the years, that red dye, I think red dye number 5 is the culprit. So I really should do better about trying to stay away from those types of pinkish purpley shades. I did not wear them as the base shade. I used one to blend out my crease and I still had the reaction. So I did have to return it. So I am classifying that as a fail, but if you do not have issues with eye sensitivity, I still think it's a beautiful palette, and it probably would have made this video as a favorite had I not had that reaction. And there's one product I'm going to talk about at the end of the video that I made a pretty big mistake with, and I'll explain that later, but I want to start talking about the favorites that I always wear when I do these videos. So let's start off with the eyeshadow palette. This is a new holiday eyeshadow palette from Dior. It is called the Ecrin Couture. You can actually take the eyeshadows out and use this as a credit card case or a lipstick case. It is a great item to give as a gift. And this is something that will very likely sell out before we're even to Thanksgiving. So if you are interested in picking up one of these limited edition Dior holiday products, holiday sets, I definitely suggest getting it sooner than later. And the reason why this is a favorite is because I just love the color story. And these Dior shadows are beautiful, beautiful in their formulation. Whenever I describe an eyeshadow formula as being really luxe and buttery, that means in essence that I just really enjoyed using them. I found them easy to work with. I found them to have just really rich pigments and they blended out really nicely. And honestly, I would expect nothing less from Dior, but as we all know, even high-end brands have hits and misses and sometimes they reformulate things that aren't as good as the prior formula. But regardless, this palette, if you've been thinking about getting it, is a winner. And I love this shimmer shade right here. It's what I have on my lid. For this look, I used a combination of these two shades in my crease. I used the dark brown on my outer corners, and then I used this sparkly shade on my lid. And it gives sort of a wet effect. It's not a chunky glitter. It appears to be sort of chunky in the pan, but it's not. And then I really do like this little applicator that comes in here. This little brush on the end is actually really good for getting those outer corners and then also blending out. Oh, my hooded eyes. I got eyeliner. My liquid liner got on my lid. That rarely ever happens. I used a different liquid liner today. Maybe that's why. I used one from Wet n Wild. Didn't work out. So maybe that's a fail. And then using the sponge side, I used a combination of these two shades, and I ran this along my lower lash lines. I did recently upload a full face of Dior makeup, and in that video I used some products that I already had in my makeup stash and then products I went and purchased. This is one of the products I purchased in that haul, but I didn't show it in that video because I used another eyeshadow palette because I was concerned that this one might not be available yet. Actually, when I posted that video, this was not available online yet. But I love this, and I am going to be showing you some of the products that I used in that video that ultimately just have quickly become favorites, extreme favorites, especially this powder. I think anyone who watched that video saw in real time my reaction to this beautiful Dior cushion powder. This is like a filter for your face. And if you want to see this in action and see my first impression, please check out that Dior video. First of all, I think I may have already said this, the packaging, it's got this little cushion up here. It's so Dior. And then you just take the puff and you push in. I recently powdered before I started filming, so I don't know if I really need this right now, but I just press it onto my T-zone and my pores just disappear. A couple people asked me in the comments of that video if this powder has a fragrance, because Dior products typically do have some sort of fragrance. Often they're very, very strong, but I smell a slight fragrance in this. It's nothing too bad. But that said, if you are sensitive to fragrances, then I would not recommend this powder. But I am absolutely loving it, and I use the shade Light. And two more items that I tested out in that video were this Dior lip liner in the shade Jungle, and then this matte liquid lipstick in the shade Forever Nude. It is what I have on, and this is my current go-to everyday lip combo. In that video, I added a gloss on top, and I do still really like the gloss, but I'm finding more and more that I prefer just these two on their own. I'm liking this matte lip because this is the most luxurious and comfortable matte lipstick formula I have ever tried. Dior really knocked it out of the park with this formula, and I definitely want to try some other shades in this, but Forever Nude is amazing. This lip liner in Jungle, while it's beautiful, it's easily duped. This Dior pencil is very, very creamy. I do also really like that it has a brush on the end because I like to blend out the line. I know some people don't like to see the lip liner line at all. I do like it to be seen a little bit, and this shade is, in my opinion, the perfect mate to the Forever Nude. But if this pricey lip liner is, well, too pricey, this one from LA Girl, it's called the Perfect Precision Lip Liner in Sugar and Spice, is extremely close. They're not identical when swatched, but I did try them both on my lips and you could not tell the difference. The Sugar and Spice just has a hint more brown, whereas Jungle has a hint more pink. It's not quite as creamy as the Dior, but it's not hard either. It doesn't skip when you're trying to apply it to your lips. So if you're wanting to splurge on the lipstick, but not the liner, then go ahead and get this one. You know what? I should have spoken about this product first because it is one of the first things I apply to my face after moisturizer when I'm doing my makeup. This is the Hailey's Beauty Refine Soft Matte Poreless Primer. Ooh, this stuff is just as magical as this Dior powder. It makes my skin look so soft and perfected. I've been talking a lot about the Milk Makeup Blur Stick, which I do really like for also getting rid of the pores or reducing the appearance of my pores. But that does not give me the soft matte look that this one does. And this product actually makes this product not as necessary because my pores are already getting blurred with this. But I still love this. I still feel like this is a filter for my skin. And the two of these together is just beautiful. Next up is this new blush palette from Patrick Ta. I was able to purchase mine before it actually launched in stores. They put them out at certain Sephora brick and mortar locations before they were available online. I had actually heard about this palette being available in store from my friend Stephanie, aka Babs Beauty. She did a video dedicated to this and I immediately texted her and said, hey, where'd you get that? And she said, I got it in store. I thought maybe she had been sent it in PR, but she told me she purchased it in store and that she had called around, and the first Sephora I went to here in Las Vegas actually had it. So I was just so excited because I love Patrick Ta's blushes, both his powder formula and his cream formula. And these shades are just stunning. I am wearing the middle two right now. When I showed this palette on my Instagram story, one person did send me a message saying, isn't that blush too bright for you? No. Bright blushes can be beautiful on any skin tone. If you use a light hand, and you do need to use a light hand with this, unless of course you want a really vibrant blush, but you can just tap into the powder or just slightly tap a little bit of the cream formula, which is covered by this nice little plastic cover, and you can get just a really beautiful flush. There is a shade in here for every skin tone. I don't know how often I'll be using these two on the end. I actually haven't played around with them yet, but I will. I do think they'll probably look quite pretty. I might actually use this in my November trying hot new makeup. I usually do that video first, and then whatever I like the most from that video ends up in my favorites. But because this one is still very new and I haven't shown myself using it yet, let me know in the comments if you would like to see this in November's testing hot new makeup video. I also have a lipstick and lip liner combo from Patrick Ta that have quickly become favorites of mine for when I want to wear a bright lipstick. I already owned the reddish orange shade from Patrick Ta in the lipstick and the lip liner, and whenever I have worn that in photos or videos on Instagram, people always ask me what it is. I will put the name on the screen or down below in the description box. The nude shade, Oshi Single, which I consider a true nude, and the Oshi Single lip liner are two of my staples. They're just kind of like a no-brainer nude lip for me. And then I recently purchased She's Hard to Get, which is this stunning, vibrant pink. I wore this to an event a couple of weeks ago. I received so many compliments on it. And because I was going to an event at one of the casinos here in Vegas, I did have to wear a mask. And this really held up underneath the mask. Right, I just have a couple more products to talk about before I get to my big mistake. First up is this Say highlighter. This is the Glowy Super Gel in Star Glow. If you're looking for a beautiful lit from within, not sparkly glow, then you need to try this product. A little bit goes a long way. In fact, I think I already have plenty on. I'm not going to add any more, but if you just put a tiny bit, and I mean a tiny bit on your finger, and tap it onto your cheekbones, the high points of your cheeks, you are going to look like a glowing goddess, I promise you. And the texture of this is so, well, it's a gel, so it's very different from any other highlighter I've personally tried. And Say is a clean beauty brand. It's cruelty-free, vegan. Actually, I'm not sure if it's vegan, but it is Leaping Bunny certified cruelty-free. I decided to look it up for you, and on the Say website, it does say that the Glowy Super Gel, Dew Blush, Really Great Gloss are all vegan. Outside of sustainably and ethically sourced beeswax, the rest of our ingredients are also vegan, which you can read more about here. So if you are interested, you can go to the Say website. So yeah, that's awesome. The next beauty favorite is from Fenty Beauty. I meant to show this in last month's favorites video and somehow I forgot. This was featured, or this was tested out in my full face of Fenty Beauty. That was posted back in September, I think. This is an excellent under eye brightener. I use the shade Crepe. This is yet another product where a little bit goes a long way. And I just pat this on after a long day, or even at the beginning of the day when I just want to look refreshed and awake. So I do use my concealer first, and then I pat this right in this area right here where I have the most darkness. And of course I love that it doesn't settle into any creases in this area. I think it works very similarly to YSL's Touche Éclat, but it's not quite as expensive. The Touche Éclat Radiance Boosting Pen is what I was referring to. Okay, I do have one non-beauty favorite to share with you, but I know you want to hear about the mistake that I made. Well, the mistake was made in my testing hot new makeup for October. I was testing out the new BK Beauty Hot and Flashy brush set. This one right here, which I love, by the way. I love all of the brushes. I think they're fantastic. They're definitely favorites. I believe the set is currently sold out, but I'm fairly certain they plan to make more. In that video, I used the brush A506. I did not watch any of the videos on how to use the brushes. I didn't think I needed to because as someone who is a makeup artist for over 20 years, I never used brushes for exactly what they were meant for. If a brush said that it was for powder, I would often use it for blush. Or if the brush said it was for blush, I would use it as a contour, and different eye brushes also for different purposes. So when I saw this brush, I just assumed it was for packing on your base shade. And I did say that it was a little bit large for what I would normally use to pack on a base eyeshadow, but it honestly never occurred to me that it would be for concealer until pretty much half of the people who watched the video pointed it out to me in the comments. And at first I was a little defensive. I was saying, well, you know, it doesn't matter. You can use a brush for whatever purpose you choose. And then I started realizing, okay, yeah, Risa, you're in the wrong here. You really should have watched the video or maybe even glanced at the little card that was inserted in the packaging of the brush. You know, maybe I should have just flipped that over and read real quickly, but no. I was just super excited. I'm always really looking forward to doing those testing hot new makeup videos because oftentimes I've been collecting products that I'm just dying to try. So I just grabbed the brush set and started filming. Well, I am so glad that so many of you pointed out that this brush was for concealer. The reason why it never occurred to me that it would be for concealer is because if you watch my videos regularly, especially my tutorials, you will know that I like to use my e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge. That is my go-to for blending out concealer. I never use a brush to blend out concealer. A lot of makeup artists do, I just don't. But now I am addicted to this brush. I love it so much for blending out my concealer. I have not touched my e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge. Don't get me wrong, I still like the sponge, I still recommend it, but if you have not yet tried a brush like this for concealer, I highly suggest you do. I don't know if this will ever be available individually. I think it's only available in the set, but maybe if you badger Lisa J at BK Beauty and tell her that you want this sold individually, maybe someday she will make that happen. But yeah, this was my big mistake in that video, and it is now a favorite. All right, as always, I really hope you enjoyed watching my October 2021 monthly beauty favorites and fails. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, please leave them for me in the comments. As always, all of the products will be listed and linked below. Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about my earrings. I meant to talk about these Kendra Scott earrings. These are my new go-to everyday earring. If you are looking for a comfortable, lightweight, everyday gold hoop, you've got to get these. These would also make a fantastic gift. All right, now I can close this out. If you are not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I do try to upload new content at least 2 times per week. I'll be uploading a lot more, I think, in November. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.